share it on the other platforms as well. So welcome everyone on this conversation again on the Tuesday afternoon. Special online conversation hosted by Move into the Future and the Wize Move Society, the online community for the over 50 generation. The generation is growing rapidly, living longer healthy and active, and are better educated than ever. There are many reasons why this generation needs to be part of the workforce a lot longer than they expected when they started their career. So that is why this conversation today is also very important. We as Wize Move Society, we believe that the over 50 generation has a significant role to play in the creation of the future. We just need to tap into their knowledge, experience, and wisdom. With these Tuesday live conversations, we aim to give you a glimpse of what is happening online on the Wize Move Society, to share a bit about both the challenges and the opportunities that the 50+ generation is facing, as well as how the members of the Wize Move Society work together to create the solutions and play an active role in society and the economy. The 50+ generation is very clear that they are not on their way out. They are able to reflect on what they have learned thus far in their lives and are part of the future. So for those of you who join us on Zoom, we love you to contribute to the conversation. If you want to do so, please show yourself with your camera on. If you do not want to be seen, share your questions or comments in the chats. If you've joined us on Facebook, welcome everyone. Please share your feedback and questions in the comments. So my name is Ingo Bol. I'm the founder of Move into the Future and the creator of the Wize Move Society. And I'm here today with my special guest, Wendy Mayhew. Wendy has been an entrepreneur for over 40 years. Her company, Business Launch Solutions, helps first-time business owners to establish their ventures. And since already several years, Wendy is working more and more with older entrepreneurs. She's the author of Wizer, the definitive guide to starting a business after the age of 50, and has co-authored several other publications. So of course, today we're going to have a conversation about starting a business after the age of 50. And more specific in this time of the pandemic. So Wendy, I have some questions for you. Really looking forward to share here. And today, of course, we have Mary Jane who joined us, as Mary Jane is one of the thought leaders of the Wize Move Society. So really happy that she's here as well. So Wendy, why your focus on the 50+ generation?
Wow, because they have little or no support. And I decided that this was a group of entrepreneurs that really needed support. And so I advocate for them. I support them as much as I can. I wrote the book, actually, Wizer, to help them start their businesses. And I guess I was just so frustrated that there wasn't any help for them. And so I kind of have this, okay, I need to help them. So that's how I started doing it.
But then you can also choose another generation. You know, why specifically this over 50 generation?
Pre-COVID, okay, people were retiring or being laid off, or just, it was time to move on. And many of them had already thought about starting their own business. So they took the leap into doing it on their own, a lot of them not realizing that, it is a process to start a business. And so we're doing some struggling. But I realized that, like, I was getting all these questions, what about this and what about that? And so when at least in Canada, there wasn't any support for people actually over the age of 50, but most of the funding was only up to 39. Mm-hmm. And so they were struggling to do it on their own. Now, having said that, a lot of them, even though they need financing and want financing, they don't like some of the terms of having to repay the loans. And so right now, there aren't even any grants for older entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. So I just keep talking and talking and talking, and hopefully making a change here in Canada on that.
Mhm. Okay. So the thing I just mentioned in the intro, this group of the 50 plus is growing, and it's growing really fast. And it's really important that they stay active longer, you know, and it can be whatever the way and whatever the reason why they need to stay active. You know, there's, for instance, there's a lot of knowledge, experience, and wisdom that we still need. If this group is leaving the workplace, and whether they are entrepreneurs or that they are still working in a corporate or government environment, there will be a real knowledge drain. So that is also one of the major topics. But also what is important is economy-wise, most of them have not yet built a sufficient retirement fund to really stop working. So they need to be active. And is, you know, and you're an entrepreneur yourself for many, many years. Is entrepreneurship, is starting your own business at this age, is that an obvious choice?
Yes and no. You know, many people can't wait to retire and start a business. Then there are the other ones that, well, they've always had an idea for a business, but they don't know where to start, so they don't know whether to do it or not. And then there's the third group that aren't ready to retire, or can't afford to retire, or can't find work. And so I say they are the desperate ones. They go into entrepreneurship because it's their only option of possibly making money. And so, and they can do it if they understand what is needed. And as all three of those groups do, they need to understand that, and I said this earlier, starting a business is a process, and you really have to follow, you know, the order, the steps that are there. And that will more than likely, there is no guarantee, but more than likely take you to success a lot sooner than you might have if otherwise. And, you know, I think one of the biggest challenges is that it is that fear. It's the fear of the unknown. How do I get started? How do I move, you know, go to my network, or do I have a network? Yes, you do have a network. You have a network from the place of employment that you just left, or even your friends, your family. Everybody knows somebody, and all you have to do is talk and ask for help.
Okay, so you're really talking already about different groups. You know, really, is the one who cannot wait to retire to start their own business. What do you see specifically in this group?
Well, the energy. Okay, I mean, they all have that experience. They all have the knowledge. A lot of them don't know how to bring it forth into, you know, out of a work environment into entrepreneurship. So they, you know, it's very interesting. It's so broad of what people are doing and the energy that they bring to it. And, you know, some can just go, phew, right, like that. And it's, you know, it's using that experience, while others are going, okay, where do I start? What do I do? Right. So it is having that balance of, you know, and then going up the curve. And, you know, some of these, like through COVID, I mean, you know, yes, there have been a lot of people, and we don't know the numbers. It's just millions. We know millions and millions of people have started a business after the age of 50 because of various reasons through COVID. But some of these ones that had actually started before COVID saw such an influx of business. It's just crazy. I was asked to do a podcast, and I wanted to talk about some of the 50 over 50 award winners. You know, the host had asked that. And so I approached 3 different people. 2 of them said yes, and one of them said, no, I don't think so, Wendy. She said, my business has escalated during this COVID, and I don't think that's fair of me to talk about my success when everyone else is struggling. And I said to her, no, you have to encourage. This is going to encourage people, you know, that you have done this. And through the pandemic, it is, you know, you're just going all over the world now with your product. And so, you know, that, as I say, is encouraging. The other one that, just as an example, Nordic walking sticks. As we know, a lot of people during COVID started exercising more. And he was selling these walking sticks, and he said shipping all over the world now. Just keeping up with the orders is incredible. So, you know, there are the ones that they just, and those are just two examples, and they're both just from Canada. So, you know, we haven't got all these other stories from all over the world. So we have such great things to offer. We really do. And it's just, you know, making sure that society accepts us as being viable business owners, and that we get the same products and services and support that all other age groups of entrepreneurs do.
Yeah, great. Yeah, if I refer to what we're doing at the Wize Move Society, for instance, is Mary Jane, if you want to jump in, you know, just raise your hand. You know the rules. What we do at the Wize Move Society, because of course we realize that people who are at this crossroad, you know, if you are over 50, you still probably will have to work another 20 years. You know, if you're just in the beginning 50, you need to work another 20 years. That, you know, if you come from a job background, there's a lot that you will need to learn. There's a lot of, you know, you need to go through that transformation process. There's an employee mindset or an entrepreneurial mindset that is totally different. And also to have that creativity and that innovation. And we were just talking before this conversation, and I said, well, you know, what is happening? Well, you know, there are so many opportunities there around. It's just like you see them everywhere. But if you've been, you know, been working for one and the same employer for the last 25 or 30 years, you didn't need that entrepreneurial spirit. You didn't need that creativity of looking just around you and seeing, oh, wow, yes, people are moving more. So why not do the walking sticks? That is also something people have to learn.
Yes. And so, you know, as you say, so many people don't know where to start or what to do. You know, it's changing that mindset. And what really surprises me is that there are so many small support organizations that are there to help you. But many people don't know that. Like I you know, I've talked to a few people and I'm going, they're asking me questions. I said, you know, well, you know about, and here in Invest Ottawa, and they just look at me like with a blank look, and they don't know this. So they don't know what they don't know. They don't know where to start, right? And so I always say, you know, you can't tell somebody how to create a mindset. Okay, that is something you have to do yourself. But what you need to do, you agree with that? Yeah. So
something you can learn, I think. Yeah.
You can learn it. Yes, you can learn it. But I think that in order to learn it, you need to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs. Okay, so you go to these small business organizations, you go and you know, okay, they still have virtual events. So, you know, during COVID and whatnot, so we can, you know, still do that and meet with other people. And I think that, I know when you surround yourself with other entrepreneurs, you're going to feel their energy. You are, and they are going to be so helpful. Like they're going to, you know, what are you doing? And, you know, you talk to them and they, oh, well, I know this person, or I know this person, or this is a program you should go to, or have you heard of this company that's offering support? You know, so you surround yourself with like-minded people, just like you do with your friends, right? And even with your colleagues at work, that you do it. It's just a different, and I say in my book, what I say is when you're starting an entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, think of it as a new project. Okay, you probably worked on projects your whole life or working life, and just consider this a new project. So you're starting from scratch, you're building those relationships, you're building, you know, and if you think like that, it should be easier for you. But don't ever discount that other entrepreneurs don't want to help you, because they do.
Oh, yes, they do. Yes.
Yeah.
And you need to be infected by that energy and that way of thinking. Absolutely. Yeah. And yes, Mary Jane.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in on that. particular comment, Wendy, because I came off a call from earlier this afternoon, and we're a group of entrepreneurs. We meet once a month and we pick a different topic each month to talk about. It's not all, 50 pluses. It's a real wide range of ages, which is great as well. And I again, I'm so surprised because what one doesn't know, the other one does.
That's right.
And we do something we call big wins. So we celebrate if it's something the last month that you can celebrate, but also urgent needs. And it can be anything from needing help with a website to finding a photographer that's going to do a portrait photo for you. There's just, it's a wide range. So we open up our networks and we open up our experience and knowledge as entrepreneurs. And I'm sure there must be, many more groups like this, support groups. And especially, I think now we started as a round table. So we were actually physically meeting in a hotel in Amsterdam. And of course, when COVID hit, then we had to move online. And I think we'll probably, if not stay online, we're going to stay hybrid, maybe 3 months online and one time coming together as a group, because we've pulled in people from around the world on this, via extending
amazing,
invitations. So
yeah, it's just amazing. And I think I like your idea of staying, virtual, but having those meetings, because it's just everybody, even though we're meeting here, we've never met in person, and it would be wonderful to meet in person. There's just that little thing. I keep saying to my husband, when COVID's over, I would like to travel to all of the countries where I have connections and meet them personally. And I said, he can't go with me because it would be, it would be fun. It would still be working, but it would be fun, right? But I'm not going to leave him at the hotel. So I haven't figured out how to do it. He said we're having a lot of lunches. So I don't know, maybe.
The other thing that I wanted to mention, Inge, the other thing I wanted to mention is that, and I don't have the data handy right here, but people starting businesses 50 plus and older, the success rate is much higher than starting them younger. So, and I can't give you the accurate numbers, but that's something that I think also should encourage people 50 plus to start their own companies, because your wisdom, your knowledge, experience, you bring all of that in to, your emotional stability, things that a younger person may not have right at the fingertips. So
when we talk about that, because we all know that, right? And I think the latest number we've heard is we have a 70% success rate of being in business still being in business 5 years versus young entrepreneurs. Okay. So when we look at this, and again, it's the wisdom, the experience. But I continue to talk about there isn't enough support or programs for this group. So can you imagine what it would be like if there were all these programs and help that were available and financing? I mean, one of the biggest things is financing for this group. But it's just like, I mean, I don't know how much higher than 70 we can go, but it's never going to be 100, but it's a very interesting thing that there's this whole group of entrepreneurs. I mean, I just think we're all so totally amazing in supporting this group.
Yeah. Well, there again is a lot of creativity, because, well, I remember that Paul Tesner, and I think he's also in your book, Wendy, he also at the launch of the Wize Move Society, he said, well, of course, we talk a lot about ageism, but the only moment that I experienced ageism was when I was going to the bank to ask for to ask for funding, to ask for a loan, because they just look at you and say, okay, you're over 60. No way, this is the first time that you're an entrepreneur. No way that we're going to pay you. So you have to be creative in how can you get that funding in and really finding, the means that you need as older entrepreneurs to make this happen. And the bank doesn't feel like, okay, so it's a 70% success rate. No, they only see your age. But then again, you know, your friends might see that you can be successful. They know who you have been for the last so many years. So they trust what is going on. So there's a lot of creativity also in that. So how and where can you find it, and how can you move forward? And if the drive is there to make it successful, you will be able to find that solution.
There's a will, there's a way.
But to find it in the most obvious way, to go with your business plan, probably 35 pages or more, and ask the bank to support you, they're not going to do that. So you have to be creative.
No, banks are, well, so I'll tell you something, and then I'll tell you something else about another bank. But so I had brought together the 50 over 50 award winners to meet with angel investors, venture capitalists, and a bank. And so they, you know, they all met with them all and individually, and they came back and, you know, I asked them how they felt that it went, and they said, good. You know, maybe I'm not quite there yet. 2 or 3 of them said, I don't like the repayment terms. They were too much. So they didn't, you know, they were just too high. So they opted not to take the financing. Now, you know, I haven't, and, you know, some things you think you need financing, and then you end up that, you know, you just keep on going, and all of a sudden somebody out of the blue comes to you and says, we want you, and we're going to contract with you to do this. So then you don't need the financing, which, you know, not everybody is that lucky to get that. But so then I was talking about a bank that I recently spoke to. And, you know, I'm doing this free ebook initiative. And so I went to one of the banks and spoke to them and, you know, asked them if they would be involved in it. And they said, no, because we don't support people that would not that they weren't supporting the group. The loans that they give are in the millions and millions and millions of dollars. And they don't think anybody in our age group would need that or want that.
No.
So, you know, I mean, sure, some of these companies that are, you know, right off the bat, are they going to need it? I don't know. But I don't know. I still think that they have a lot of the financial institutions have this mindset that we're never going to amount to anything and never be able to give back the money or pay back the money. So, you know, it's a.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about that entrepreneurial mindset. That is very important. We've talked about, you know, the finances. You've created that book, Wizer, and that is a step-by-step program. Can you share a little bit about, you know, where do you start, and what are these, well, you know, the most important steps, what you see that these 50 plus is struggling with, that they need to support?
Well, they need to support in that, well, the financing, I mean, that is unfortunately the biggest
very
thing.
important.
Okay, yeah, it's always going to be there if they don't have the money to use themselves. And that can be a little bit of a hindrance. But I think, you know, after that, even before they do that, they should be talking, and, you know, you mentioned the business plan, which you need when you go to a bank, but not when you're starting out. You need to have them use the lean model canvas, you know, 9 boxes of just putting your thoughts down and realizing that this is a living document. So what you put down today or even this afternoon may be different than what you put in tomorrow. It gets you thinking, it gets you planning. And, you know, that is the really first steps as far as I'm concerned, is doing that. And then once that, you know, you really start to establishing that, your next thing is legal. You definitely need to talk to a lawyer to make sure that you are on the right track. And, you know, are you setting up as a, you know, sole proprietor, partnership, whatever. So yeah, your first steps is definitely, you know, your lean model canvas, or at least, you know, even to start putting it on paper, on, you know, just a blank piece of paper, and move forward with that. And the other thing that I think is really, really important, talk to other people. Talk, ask questions, never stop asking questions. And, you know, if you're talking to someone and they aren't able to help you, ask them if they know of anyone else that they can refer you to. Again, ask the questions. Go to those small business support organizations. They're there to help you.
And talk to different people than you're used to.
Definitely.
You know, if you talk to your colleagues, they might never, you know, have that vision of starting a business.
Yes.
They will not, you know, your family, you know, they might freak out the idea just that you will be starting a business. So they will advise you not to. So talk with people who do have that mindset and that, you know, that openness of, you know, yes, of course. And that can inspire you to take that next step. Yeah. You need that new network, that new support system.
Definitely. And, you know, and it's okay I totally agree with what you're saying, like your new network. Okay. But, you know, even with your new network, you may have some negativity and that's fine because you need to have that. We don't live in a perfect world. Our businesses are not perfect. So we're always going to have some little challenges. Maybe there'll be big challenges sometimes, but, you know, we've got all those hurdles to go over. And you're going to have to depend on your network, your advisors, such as you have and I have, whenever you are, you know, experiencing some difficulty in making decisions, that you need them. And you need to share that information. You cannot hold it all in. You cannot. So again, talk. I always say, keep talking, keep talking.
Yeah. And explore, you know, be creative. And I like always what, you know, normally Tatiana is here. She's a researcher from the UK, scientist really, and that be creative and explore and play for the sake of playing. You know, we really, at this age, we really have to relearn to play and to be creative. And, you know, I love to sit down with my grandson and to see what he's painting. And, you know, when the kids are older, they just, you know, to color between the lines. And I just love it that he isn't, you know, just stop coloring between the lines. You need to explore what you are doing and be able to play again and not think, well, you know, this is not allowed, or this is not what it's supposed to be. It's not what it's supposed to look like. You know, it is, you can be the change, and you can really be making something or creating something that is not yet there.
That's right. And we are doing that. A lot of us are doing that, but a lot of times too, that they don't think we're creative because of our age. Like, you know, we're not going anywhere. Okay. Like I'm 70. Talked to somebody the other day that says I have another, I think it's 20 years ahead of me, at least 20 years ahead of me. Like, you know, so do I want to live a boring life? No, I want to make the best of my years. And I love being an entrepreneur. I love helping other people. And I'm going to do that for as long as I can. And I try and do it in creative ways of, you know, coming up with new programs and doing things like that to keep myself interested, as well as my audience knowing that there are new things coming along, right? So we have to be creative because nobody likes boring.
No,
it's very true. That's very true. And we want purpose in our life. We want to feel like we are contributing in some way. But one thing that popped into my mind, and that came out from the business chat earlier this afternoon, that one of the women, and I think she was in the corporate world for 30 years. So I'm imagining she's in her early 50s or mid 50s. I don't know for sure, but she's created last year for the first time a vision board for herself. And now she's adding to that vision board, changing it and modifying it, because she's more than a year later as an entrepreneur out of the corporate world and the corporate banking world, I think. So she, you know, she really is at a point where, and I thought, what a wonderful idea. So we are all creating our vision boards this coming month to present at our next business chat.
Awesome.
And I thought just a really great idea, you know.
Dream again, whatever the age, you know, start dreaming.
And it's about life. It's about life. So it's not just about. So I think that's maybe an idea. In fact, we could do something like that on the platform as well, Ingen. You know?
Yeah. I know some of the trainers are looking into that. Because that is where, you know, I do that myself. I have vision boards, you know, cutting and pasting things that I've created 10 years ago, and you see things coming through that it is really happening, and that is really fantastic. And you know, and that is also so much fun when you talk about people building this platform, this community right now. Last week I talked to someone who is 71, who is really, if you look at her profile, that is really fantastic. That is, but then again, she hasn't worked now. She's not, for some reason, didn't end up with that retirement fund that she needed. But it's stuck now, and she says, there's so much I still want to do, but, I feel useless. I feel that I have failed. Can you imagine someone who has worked for over 40 years and feels like a failure right now? And then I feel like, yes, come on, there's so much that you can do, but you see that someone is stuck and that is not able to, because of the situation that she's in, not able to open up, not because the people around her are not able to inspire her or whatever, and she's not able to do it on her own. That you really need that group around you that to take the next step and feel that you belong, that you fit in, that there's still, yes, absolutely, that you can work on your purpose, that you can create an impact. Because even at 71, I said, so how long do you think you can still be working? And she said, until I die. So that might be another 20 years, and maybe not 20 years very active, but it can be, and that for now is so important, that we are able to support each other also to take that next step.
And I think importantly, and actually, I think Paul Tassner said it on your thing. So, or I'm not sure if it was there, but I know that someone told him, actually he's from Mike Mansfield I think he's from the Netherlands. Okay. I think it was his group that told Paul that, you have, by starting in business, it's so good for your mental health.
Yes.
Right. And, it's not only your mental health, your brain health.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to keep active, and you need to, you can't. And this is, not even entrepreneurship, but we need to keep our brains active. We need to be thinking of different things all the time. We just can't be straight, because it becomes very boring. And then, you become a boring person, and nobody wants to be around a boring person. Well, I don't anyways.
But not only that, it's really is about brain health. And
yeah, it is.
Ingham knows that this is one of the areas that I'm really excited
passionate
about.
Yeah,
passionate about is the neuroplasticity of the brain. But we can develop new neural pathways, new neural connections till the day we die.
Yes.
And the research out there is showing that it's a big factor in terms of maintaining our brain health.
Yep.
So learning new things, challenging ourselves. Great to do a crossword puzzle every day, but that's not going to rewire your brain in any way. So it's really it is about those challenges. I was just going to write a note in the chat box, but I do need to leave the call. So thank you, Wendy. Really happy to have met you. We're going to carry this conversation on offline. So looking forward to it. Okay.
Thanks,
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so Wendy, what the thing that was also, of course, on your in the article that I was reading, and we also mentioned on the theme for this session, the last year and a half, of course, we dived into a more changing world. We already live in a fast changing world.
Yes.
But the whole pandemic, that was, of course, even more adding to insecurity, so what is my next step? Am I going to do that in this world, or am I going to wait until it's over? What have you seen happening in relation to business startups especially in this group?
Yeah, so a lot of them, again, going to the groups, okay, so a lot of them, yay, now is the time to do it. I have lost my job, okay, and I'm never going to get that job back. And I'm not, I want to still do something. So a lot of people are doing what they are passionate about and have always thought about doing, okay, so food. Okay, food is a big thing that, and even the ones that have, thought about it for a long time and actually have maybe been doing it part-time are now doing it full-time. But the food industry has really taken off. Health, products for health. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just so amazing what people are doing in different areas. And just, you know, the healthy exercise and food. Those are the ones that I think are the most ones that you see a lot of. There's also the IT, which apparently, you know, we as older entrepreneurs would never think of developing an IT company. You know, we just don't do the techie stuff because we just don't know how to do it, right? So there's a lot of technology companies in various, you know, ways, shapes, and forms that are coming out of it. You know, online learning. I mean, the list goes on and on. I guess the best way to put this is that we really aren't different than any other groups of entrepreneurs. Okay, it's just our age is there. And, you know, yes, unfortunately, some are still facing ageism when it comes to being an entrepreneur. I purposely did not include ageism in my book because I don't believe there is any room for ageism. And, you know, if anybody does say to me that they are facing it, I say, step away from those people. You don't want them in your space. You know, you don't want to be working with those people, whether they're a client, which I don't think it would be a client, but, you know, you've got somebody there that wants something to do with you, and they're just so negative about this ageism thing. I just say no. Just go away from them, leave them alone, find someone else. You know, and I think that we're as a group, because there's a group of us now that, you know, we talk together and you know, communicate, and we know what each other's doing. And it's so nice that we can tell people about different programs or different people that they can do. And I think it's great that so many of us are able to communicate and collaborate on things. I mean, you know, we are the ones that are making the difference in this group, and we have to do it together because we're not going to be able to do it alone. And if anybody thinks they can do it alone, and that's even starting your business, okay, if you think you can do it alone, you're wrong. You need that help. You need that support.
You need that support system. You need that, absolutely, you need that group of people around you. Well, you know, you're mentioning about the IT, for instance, that actually you know, the Wize Move Society, the IT platform that is built by all the tech guys. I really loved choosing them because it proves again that that they can do it. And this morning, for instance, I was talking to a lady. She's end 60s. She's building an amazing company. She's an expert on blockchain and cryptocurrencies, you know, and then you feel like, wow, this is something that, you know, I will leave to the younger generation. But she just loved it. She grew into it. She's written a book about it. She's an amazing expert. And actually, with a group of investors, soon will launch a new token. So there is this thing, you know, there's an example of actually one of our teachers, our trainers, who is on board of the Wize Move Society. She's also from Canada, 73-year-old yoga teacher. Used to be, of course, doing her classes, you know, wherever you are. But then she had to move online. She's doing now podcasting. She's doing her videos online. She's doing, you know, and then she mentioned to me, and she said, well, let me then make a video, you know, and create something. And I was like, okay, you know, I do a lot of things online. I do a lot of tech stuff. I come from the IT industry, but I'm still not making my videos. She is, you know, and that is something that I feel like a time like this is also opening you up to new world, new possibilities. And what Mary Jane just mentions, you know, that neuroscience, neuroplasticity, you need to challenge your brain to be really active. And I just love seeing things like this happen. And I do agree with you. Food, there's a lot happening in that industry, and it will happen. And then especially the healthy part of it, not so much, you know, the huge chunk of what you find in the supermarket. Health, yes, IT, online teaching, learning, of course, and that is also something, of course, what we are doing with Wize Move Society, not just building that community, of course, that new network that people really are looking for, but also really guiding those our members on their transformation journey, so that they learn to see other perspectives, that they refine their purpose, reinvent themselves, but also really explore things like entrepreneurship, because I really believe that if you do want to be active, if you do want to learn, just post-retirement and just after retirement, semi-retirement, entrepreneurship is a real great choice, but it's not for everyone,
No.
and no, it's not. And I do really agree that it's not for everyone. You really need to be aware of what you're doing, but, finding maybe partners that you can together explore new ways, that would really be great. So the support we have already talked about. What I really would like to talk with you, that's the last topic, is in the article, you were talking about intergenerational entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean, and why can this be so important?
So intergenerational business. So for people that may not understand what it is, it's bringing together two different groups, age groups, to start a business. It doesn't necessarily have to be business. I mean, there's mentoring, there's all kinds of other things. But, when you are thinking of starting a business and you talk intergenerational, it is bringing those two different skill sets together that will help the success of a business. So yes, we have the experience and the wisdom and everything that we need is that age. Do we necessarily, and I'm not saying we don't have them, but do we necessarily have those other skills that younger entrepreneurs have?
Mm-hmm.
So, bringing those two together is a great way to start a business. However, it does come with its challenges, okay? Because, and this is so important, and this is one of the programs that I'm creating, is that you have to know how to work with each other. Because, as an older person, we may think we know it all. And as a younger person, we do know it all. So how are you going to work together? And that is very, very, very important. And, that isn't even necessarily with intergenerational. It's with partnerships, it's like a marriage. So, you have to have that, and you have to be able to match those skills. But now, how do you match those skills, right? How do you find someone? And normally pre-COVID, you usually started a business with somebody in your own country, your own province, even your own city. Okay, virtually, the world is the limit. It's unlimited. Okay, it's a big, big world out there, and there isn't any reason why you have to necessarily stay in one place. And so that's why I am launching it the 1st of September. It's called the Cross-Gen Matching Program. So it is going to be a global event. We're starting it here in Canada, but it's going to be a global event that you will apply with, and you fill out the application form. There's no cost at this time of doing that. And I just if anybody is interested that's on this call, you can go to my website, and there is a form there that you will be kept up to date of as this progresses. But so how we're doing it is you list your skills, and the two age groups list the different skills, and then we will match those with potential match. And then they will arrange a time to speak to each other and get back to us to tell us whether it was a match or they want to continue looking for somebody else. So it's really interesting that, I've wanted to do this for a very, very long time. And so I'm really happy that it's now starting to work. And I think that, and sincerely hope that it's going to make a difference to so many people that in both age groups. That, it doesn't necessarily mean that older entrepreneurs are the only ones that want to do this. It's young entrepreneurs want to do it too. Hey, they understand what we bring to a business too. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to this launching and just being, ownership of it to help businesses come together, or potential businesses start from this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it actually is one step further. Of course, we know about how older people, entrepreneurs, can mentor the younger ones, and the reversed mentoring, when the younger ones mentor the older ones. But here, what you really intend to accomplish is that they are really starting working together.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. But even with the work part of it, so there is and more of these companies are starting, but the one that I'm familiar with is Boomers Plus here in Canada. They have a workplace, like they will find work for people. Okay, and it was usually it was started in Nova Scotia, where they're from. Then it moved to Ontario, and now I do believe that they can, because of everything so virtual now, that they have probably expanded even outside of Canada. I'm not 100% sure of that yet, but they are also started this new program for older people, experienced people. I should stop calling them older people. Experienced people that are willing to mentor new young entrepreneurs. So, and there's also another organization in Canada that they have. It's called Intergen, but it's been funded by this billionaire in Alberta, that it's to help young entrepreneurs start the business, but it's all mentors. They're retired CEOs of companies, so they really have that extra, that so many people may not have, to help them with their business. Yeah. So but it can be reverse mentoring, that's for sure, and definitely even in entrepreneurship, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. Is there anything that we forgot to talk about? We didn't mention.
Not from my end, I don't think. Why don't you just tell me a little bit about what's new at Wize?
The Wize Move Society.
Yep.
Well, I will. This just by wrapping it up, because it is. I just love your story. I love entrepreneurship, so that's for me.
Thank you.
And I really think that no, entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
No.
But I do think that many, especially in that age group, in that 50+ age group, that for them, there's a lot out there that they could explore, that if you have been an employee for 30 or maybe even 40 years, there is a world out there, and the risk is you can make that as big and as small as you intend to. So it's, and for me, I've worked in the corporate world for over 20 years. I wouldn't go back if they paid me, whatever, because I just love the freedom. There is so much more, and especially if you are in that age that you feel like the money and the power is not the only thing that you want to work for, but you do want to work on your purpose, that you do want to create an impact, that you do want to leave a legacy. For me, that is very important, that there is a lot to explore. And if you look at the Wize Move Society, we really want to work with with that generation, to go through that whole transformation journey, because it is all about healthy aging. We are getting older and older, but we don't only want to get older, we want to live healthier.
Yes.
Older.
Exactly.
We want to add years to our life. No, add life to our years. That's very important. So that healthy aging is very important. So we are going to work on what is your lifestyle, where, we have involved our yoga teacher from Canada. We will be working on mindset. We will be working on resilience, things like that. But we also really want to work on building that new network, build that new support system, because it is important if you are getting older. And, if you've just lost your job and you are taking really a different direction in the next step, then you will also lose something. Losing your job means probably you will lose your colleagues. There are many people in this age group who lose their partner, or, the kids are moving out of the house. So there is this, their world is getting smaller, and they need that new support system. They need that new network to support them in the new things that they will be doing. But also the fun part is very important. So on the Wize Move Society, there will also be a lot of things going on. Name it photography, that we have an amazing photographer who's coming on board, but she's also a coach, learning to look at things from a totally different perspective, because you are taking pictures of your life or of the environment, and that you really see things differently. And by seeing things differently, being able to see things from another perspective, and being able to also see opportunities. This isn't working, so how can we change it? Anyhow, so there's a lot of things. Knowledge, we will touch a lot. That whole blockchain cryptocurrency, we will work on it, because that is the future. We will be working on more tech things like artificial intelligence, and not the whole iceberg, just the tip, that people know what they're talking about. But also, and that is for us, is very important, to really define what you want in that next phase of your life. That is it that you want to work less, or that you want to work more, or that you want to do different things next to each other, or that you, after retirement, really want to start that business. And that whole business part, being a creative again, being innovative again, having that entrepreneurial mindset. We will do innovation labs, to really work on a problem together, so that you see how others are looking from things from a totally different perspective than what you are doing normally. You will learn from that. And that for us is so it is quite a big, it is going to be, big. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be dynamic, and really a buzz, and with our eyes on the future. How can we contribute? How can we create that legacy? So really love to talk with you after this session, with how can we collaborate in doing things. And,
because it's all about collaboration, right? So just a couple of things that that just from summing up what you were saying there. So yes, entrepreneurship is definitely not for everyone. So make sure you explore it before you get into doing it.
Yes.
With regard to your contacts, and you're going to have new contacts, but make sure when you are leaving work, your employment, you take all the contacts with you, because you never know when you might need them. I have contacts from years and years and years and years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
And one other thing that I just want to leave you with, because I think we're running out of time here, is because you are a new business owner, congratulations. I love that you're doing this, but don't be cocky. You aren't the only one that's doing it. You aren't the only one that is probably doing what you're doing, even though you think you're the only one that's doing what you're doing. Okay. So
and that's okay.
Pardon me?
And that's okay.
Yes. And that's okay, because you can learn from each other. For gosh sake, you should be knowing all about your competition. And, in my world, I don't think with what we're doing, we're not competitors. We're working together to make a better world for people over the age of 50, right? Absolutely. And that's what it should be. But, so just always remember there's somebody else doing what you're doing, and be respectful of each other. Treat everyone like you want to be treated. And, that to me is the, I just love helping people. I like being nice to people. I love helping them. Well, I just said that, helping them, but, be respectful of other people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I totally
You are not
agree.
better than anyone else. Mm-hmm. Always remember that. We're all equal.
There's so much to learn, even at any age. There's still, if you stop learning, you stop living.
That's especially, right. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it.
Well, thank you very much, Wendy. And I know we will share a little bit more also, in the comments here about your book, Wizer, and your website where people can find you. And for us, just, it's really been great again to have this conversation, because we see that we need to talk about what is going on in this age group. And that is why I love these conversations. For next week, we have a more very serious topic, and that is been initiated by one of our members, Patty Washington, from the United States, and she invited Amos Rogers, author of the book Emotionally Naked, A Guide to Suicide Prevention. And oh, I don't know if you ever wondered what is going on. There is so much, you know, this is a hot topic, especially also in this age group. So really happy that we can discuss, open the conversation about it, but it will of course be more serious than what we're used to. So I hope you have enjoyed this conversation again, and we gave you a glimpse of what is happening in the Wize Move Society, the online community for the 50+ generation. We'll share under this, the recordings and under the Facebook Lives, we'll share the website where you can find more information, where you can find a link to become member of this fantastic, very dynamic organization working with this age group. Wendy, thank you again for your time and for sharing all your wisdom. I loved it, and I hope there's a lot of people out there who at least are considering to start their own business after the age of 50.
Thank you ever so much. I really had fun here. So thank you.
Thank you again.